Help you find Zen and Zeb. No worries, my friend. No, but really, I'm sorry that you had a sucky last night, and I hope that this morning we're just gonna do everything that we can to reset that V. All right. Oh, I don't think you were here when I was asking your forgiveness for drinking bagged tea, but in my defense, it is organic, and it's a leftover from a past relationship, so, you know, we do what we can. All right, so let's get started here. So we've got about a 75-minute practice ahead of us. So let's start seated for our meditation. We'll move through an asana movement practice, and then head on over to thank you for the permission. Choice is an acceptable brand. We'll head over to a nice long Savasana final relaxation pose and just integrate all the work that we will have put in. Everything that I lead you through is an invitation. Don't feel like it has to look any specific type of way. It's not a dance routine. Go at your own pace. Do what works for your body. And yeah, seated up nice and tall. Chest over the hips, head over the heart. Hands come to rest on the lap, either palms down to ground down, or palms up to give and receive energy if you feel you've got a little extra to give today. Eyes come to close if that's comfortable for you. If not, a soft gaze down to the ground just beyond your feet is acceptable. We'll take 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose, shoulders rise up towards the ears, and out through the mouth with an audible sigh, the shoulders drop away. Allow the breathing to continue just through the nose if that's available. Returning to a natural pace. We'll just take a moment here to arrive. Let go of everything that came before and everything that's to come up after. And become present to yourself here in this space, here in this moment. And begin to allow sounds into your awareness. Perhaps the sound of passing traffic or singing birds out the window. Maybe the shuffle of a pet or a roommate in the room next door. Allowing all sounds in all part of this moment, this experience. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. The weight where your body makes contact with the ground below you. The weight of your hands on your knees. And begin to scan your body, Annamaya Kosha, from head down towards toes. Checking in for any places of tightness or sensitivity, any restlessness or fidgeting. And just taking note to work into those places in particular that call out for your attention during this body scan. And shifting from body to energetic level, pranamaya kosha. Where are you right now in this moment? A scale of 1 to 10. 1 being exhausted, fatigued, ready to crawl into bed. 10 being so full of energy it's hard to sit still. And shifting the awareness up to the breath. No need to change it, just observe inhalations, exhalations, and whatever space in between. And shifting that awareness up to the mind, manomaya kosha. Allowing thoughts and feelings to arise and observing them from a distance. No need to interact, like a movie being projected onto a screen. It goes on without our involvement. And notice, what are the quality of the thoughts today? Do they have a positive or a negative tilt to them? Are they ruminating on the past or attempting to predict the future? Not good or bad, not right or wrong, just something to notice. And shift the awareness back down to the breath. Anytime the mind during practice runs off with a train of thoughts, anytime really during your day, you need to ground back down in reality, in the present moment. The anchor is the breath. Following the journey of the air inwards on the inhale, belly fills like a balloon, expanding to make space for more. Following the exhale, belly deflates, belly button in towards spine. Complete exhalation. Every inhale sips in a little more air. And every exhale lets something more go. Inhales fill belly and ribs. Exhales release ribs, then belly. Inhale fills belly, ribs expand, air all the way up into the chest, chest lifts. Exhale releases chest, ribs, belly. Continuing like this, inhaling from bottom to top. Exhaling top to bottom. Stay seated up tall. Space between top and bottom teeth, and the jaws hanging heavy, relaxed. Tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. A symbol mudra of Chitta Vritti, monkey mind. So we just let it fall away. Let the mind stay stable with the breath. Two more rounds of this Dirga Pranayam 3-part breath. And on your next exhale, no rush to get there, just release any effort from the breath, returning to your natural pace, perhaps affected by that pranayam breathing technique. Hands come to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra. No space between the fingers, and the thumbs are pressed into the sternum. Consider here setting an intention or a dedication for your practice here today. It might be the sankalpa, the intention you've been working with all year, or something new might inspire you. And we'll seal that intention with the sound of Om. First, a cleansing breath. Allow your hands to drop down to your lap. Chin drops towards chest. And an inhale, right ear rolls over towards right shoulder. Exhaling, chin to chest. Left ear rolls towards left shoulder. Just allowing the head to roll side to side, opening up that space between ear and shoulder, waking up the trapezius muscles. The next time your head rolls through center, bring it up to neutral. Begin to roll the shoulders forward. Your eyes can still be closed for this. There's really no wrong way of doing it. Since Kai's here, we'll definitely do some extra shoulder work. Since I'm here, we'll definitely do some extra neck work. Mom Furious, hello, good morning. Welcome to the Three-Eyed Tiger Den. We're just starting off our practice with some nice easy movements. Thank you for the raid the other day. You're welcome. Happy to bring the community over. And we're just going to change directions, rolling the shoulders back. Yeah, happy to share community with other positive fitness-oriented people on Twitch. Yeah, so we just finished our grounding meditation, and we're just waking up our bodies. It's coming to stillness with the shoulders. We're going to start working into the neck. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what the movement is. You can stay facing the screen. Chin tucks towards chest, and then we scoop forward, all the way forward until the head can't go anymore, until the head goes up, 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 and back. And then the head tucks back down. So the shoulders, chest, torso, nothing moves. We're just rolling the head, working into the cervical spine, opening up mobility into the spine, the very upper spine. We're smoothing it out to make one nice flowing movement. We're going to change directions. Head comes back, up, and now it's scooping with the chin. Forward, forward, down, and all the way back. Head coming forward, down, in and up. Just flowing like this. My friend who's into functional fitness and primal movements taught me this, and it made a huge difference in my life. Helped alleviate a lot of migraines. Are bringing the head back to center. Give it a look over the left shoulder, over the right shoulder. Kind of releasing any tension that might have built up from that. All right. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead, reaching tall, fingertips reach. And exhale, bend over to the right. Left arm reaches over, and then we'll give it a nice big sweep in front. Left hand leading, right arm follows. Big circle up overhead. You can connect your breath to this movement. There's no wrong or right way to do it. Don't get hung up on how it looks. Focus on how it feels. That might be easier with your eyes closed. We're just waking up the spine here. Nice big flowing movements. And we'll change directions. So sweeping over to the left. Left arm leads, right arm follows. And the next time your arms come up overhead, we'll just come to meet. Fingers towards the sky. And an exhale, high twist to the right. Left hand comes to land on top of the right knee. Right shoulder pulls back. And inhale it back up through center. Exhale, left. It's not the deepest twist of the day or of your life. We're just waking the spine up to this direction of movement. Inhaling through center. Exhale like wringing out a sponge. Staying nice and tall in the spine. We twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Back through center. Let the elbows bend. And we're just giving a wave, so we're just going to warm up the hands, the wrists, before we put any weight bearing on them. Then like playing piano, so the elbows don't move. Just the wrists go all the way clockwise and counterclockwise. Fingers wiggling, so just waking up all those tendons and ligaments. And just moving the hands in ways that are different than you're probably used to. If you play lots of video games, or text all day, or scroll all day, type all day, run, doing all that. Palms flip towards the sky. The fingers are reaching back, 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 opening up the palms, and we just rotate. Once again, full range of motion. So this should actually feel quite fatiguing on your forearms, because I'm pressing the fingers back just with my hand strength to the best of my ability, engaging all these back ligaments to make that possible. Any grinding you hear or feel in any of these movements, there's no judgment there. It's not like, oh, that's bad. It's like, oh, okay, like that's something to notice, you know? We want to keep our joints nice and lubricated, especially the ones that we use for all of our tasks all day, and, you know, avoid some issues down the line. 2, 1, and then just like shaking off water nice and gentle. Just shake it off. For 3, 2, 1. All right. Bring your legs out in front. Just bring the leg back a little bit. Okay. I have a dog in the way a little bit, but it's all good. Bring the chat back so I can see you guys. Can you just scoop a little bit? Thank you. Okay. Legs out in front. Spread and scrunch the toes. Roll out the ankles. Change direction of the roll. So just waking up the feet and the lower legs. And bend in the knees. Feet come nice and wide. And then drop the knees over to the left, over to the right. So we just start all our practice off nice and gentle, just a little free movement, just kind of checking in with all of the major joints in the body, seeing if there's anything that's calling out to us, anything that's sharp or painful. No, don't get kicked off, that's sad. Are you out in the mountains again? Is that why your internet is acting up? Because that'll happen. All right. And the next time the knees fall over to the right, we'll come into our tabletop pose. Hands below shoulders, knees below hips. On an inhale, belly drops, hips and chest rise for a cow pose. Exhaling, round in the spine, chin tucks towards chest, cat. Inhale through cow, opening up front side body. I'm pressing my hands down and back, pressing my knees down and forward, like towards one another for grip, better leverage to better open up the spine. On the exhale, I'm pressing my hands down and forward, knees down and back, like I'm trying to spread my mat apart for the grip to come into a deeper rounding for cat pose. Inhale through cow. Exhale through cat. And we bring it back to center. How do I want to do this? Well, all right. We're going to have to come to an agreement, Lucy. Shift this up so you guys can see what I'm actually up to. I just need to scoop you a little bit forward. Yeah? Okay. Right foot takes a step forward, left foot takes a step forward. We'll leave a nice bend in the knees and just start to extend one leg and then the other. Just waking the legs up here. Feet are nice and wide. They might even be max distance apart. It depends how tall you are. Good morning, Rob. Hello, hello. Welcome to yoga. You can join in anytime. So in like the first half of our practice. So the head nods yes. Head shakes no. My knees are really bent. Like I'm letting my knees be super, super bent here. So there's no pain in my lower back. There's no pain in my hamstrings. I'm like super bent. Then you grab opposite elbows to create a frame for the head. start just giving it a rock side to side. I give a bob forward and back. This is called ragdoll, so once again, there's no wrong way of doing it. We're just waking up the back, waking up the backs of the legs for our first major forward fold. We'll gently release the hands. Heel toe the feet in towards one another. Big toes come to touch. Little space between the heels so that the ankles don't knock together. Little bend in the knees as we roll all the way up, one vertebra at a time. Heavy head comes up last. The arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms sweep up, overhead. Eyes follow fingertips. Exhale, forward fold, hands come down through center, bend in the knees to protect the lower back. Inhale, half lift, hands on shins, crown of the head towards the front of the room, tailbone pointing towards the back of the room, like making the number 7. Exhale, hands down to the ground, right foot takes a giant step back. We'll gently release the right knee to the ground, untuck the toes, left knee over left ankle, and inhale brings you up, right over the hips. If this is like excruciating for this right thigh, just bring it in a bit so you're more like a marriage proposal pose. If you're not feeling a stretch here and you'd like to, just bring that leg back. So now to get even a deeper stretch here, we'll press the tops of the feet into the ground, the shoelace part of the right foot into the ground so hard it's like you're going to lift the knee. If you can lift the knee, then you can actually play here. I just like pressing my elbow into this leg and just playing with that stretch. So even if your knee doesn't lift, we're just here for 3, 2, 1. Release the knee into the ground. All right, I got my spot back. Promoted. Okay. Arms come up overhead. We've been working on this movement. So my shoulders are up over my chest. If you feel yourself leaning forward and you can't lean back, then that's just a sign that you need to bring this leg a little bit further back. Bring your foot and knee closer to one another. Shoulders over chest. Arm comes up overhead. Deep breath in. And high twist to the left. So my left arm reaches behind me. Right arm reaches forward. Inhale brings you back up through center. Same side, twist left. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. And on the exhale, hands release down to the inside of the left foot. Drop the right heel down to the ground. So I'm turning my foot in and I'm pressing the leg straight. So I'm pressing into the pinky side edge of my right foot. If I were to draw a line from the front heel to the back foot, it would intersect the center of that arch. Then right arm opens up towards the sky. So here I'm pressing, I have 3 points of contact with the ground. Pinky side edge of the foot, of the right foot's pressing into the ground. Heel of the front foot's really pressing into the ground, not much weight in the toes, and my hand. I'm going to lift out of my hand using these side muscles and the front leg strength to lift and press my elbow into the knee into the elbow. So this point of contact, all the weight that was in that hand just gets transferred to this elbow-knee connection. Full breath here. Extended side angle. Then hands release down to the ground. Step the left foot back to meet the right. Take a deep breath in your plank pose. Straight line from the heels to the crown of the head. And then shift it forward, shoulders just past the wrists. So I'm coming on to tiptoes. I lower down halfway. Elbows bend 90 degrees. not swaying in the lower back. That's the temptation here. Then we tuck the toes under, press the chest forward, pull the shoulders back. My feet are pressing into the ground so hard that my knees are lifted for upward facing dog. If this is not available to you, let the hips and thighs touch down and bend in the elbows. Don't straighten out the elbows in cobra. Just let them be bent. It's like a little bit of a push-up feeling, but it's all good. That just means you're building strength. Here we are for full breath. Then we're going to come into puppy pose before we go into downward facing dog. This is for all my shoulder and upper back stretching type people. I'm going to stretch out the chest as well. Hips come over knees. They don't leave. Hands reach forward. And then mouth, chin, or forehead come to the ground. I'm trying to get my chest to the ground as well. It doesn't matter if your chest touches the ground or not. That's just the direction of the body. Still, the hips don't leave from on top of the knees. So as my chest is pressing down towards the ground, I'm trying to get my armpits to touch the ground. They're not going to, but that's the direction they're going. I press my hands into the earth so hard that the elbows stay lifted. So you should feel like a really deep stretch in your shoulders here. And if you still don't, try to round in your lower back. So I'm trying to come into a cat pose with my lower back and a cow pose with my upper back. So armpits, chest pressing down towards the ground. Lower back pressing up towards the sky. Puppy pose. If having your chin on the ground hurts your neck, bring your forehead to the ground, also a valid variation. We just got a deep breath here, really breathing into the shoulders, the upper back. Then pressing it back to tabletop. We'll press the feet into the ground so hard that the knees lift. Lift, lift, lift until you flip over the toes, or you can tuck one foot under and then the others. And playing with some of the foot flipping earlier in the week, so it's always fun to go for it. If you don't make it, it's okay. First downward dog of class, potentially of the day. So you're going to walk out the dog, bending one knee and then the other. And here we find our spacing. Fingers are spread wide. Give the head a nod, yes. Head a shake, no. The closer your feet are to your hands, the deeper the stretch in the legs. The farther your feet are from your hands, the deeper the stretch in the shoulders. So you can find a nice sweet spot in between. That's what I like to do. A nice even stretch so it feels more like a resting pose than perpetual agony. Like, believe it or not, eventually downward dog does feel like a resting pose. So my hips are reaching up and back towards the wall behind me. Like, they're going to touch where the back wall meets the ceiling. My heels are pressing down towards the ground, regardless of if they touch or not. If they do touch the ground easily, there's always a step further. You can lift your toes. So I'm lifting my toes. That's how hard my heels are pressed into the ground, right? With my shoulders, I'm careful that I'm not creating this angle. So you don't want to be here. You want to have a straight line from wrist through hips. Okay, how do we do that? Let the head be heavy so that the shoulders and chest can sink down. Just like in that puppy pose, I'm trying to get my armpits to touch the ground. Not that they're going to, not that that's even the goal, that's just the direction of the energy of the body. If that's like super feeling impossible to you, give a bend to the knees, because it might be your hamstrings that are holding you back from that positioning with the shoulders. All right, we just got one more deep breath here. Then the right leg sweeps up and back behind you. Keep both arms strong, no bend in the elbows. Bend the right knee and stack it over the left. So now my right knee is pressing, reaching towards the ceiling, towards the sky. Three-legged dog. Deep breath in. Exhale, tiger pose. Knee in towards nose, rounding in the spine like through cat. Onto the tiptoes of the left foot. Shoulders come over the wrists. Right foot steps up between the hands. Left foot steps up to meet it. Big toes come to touch as you inhale to a halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale brings you all the way up to stand. Arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. Strong in the legs, Tadasana mountain pose. I think my computer's not as far back as it usually is. Maybe. Here we go. All right. Better? Better. All right. So my big toes are touching. I'm standing in Tadasana. Legs are strong. Slight tuck of the hips, right? So we have right anterior tilt, posterior tilt, right in the middle. If your hips are a teacup, nothing's spilling out. Arms sweep up overhead. Head tilts back to follow the hands, opening the throat. And exhale, forward fold, baby bend in the knees to protect the lower back. Inhale, half lift, hands on shins. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Left foot takes a giant step back. So how do you take such a big step back? Here's the trick. You bend in the right knee to give yourself that space. Okay? All right. Gently release the left knee to the ground. You might even untuck the left toes. And press it up to Anjaneyasana, low lunge. The right knee is over the right ankle. And here we find our spacing. Shoulders should easily come over the hips. Or maybe not easily, but sustainably. So maybe this is taking a lot of effort to keep your shoulders over your hips. That's okay, as long as you can sustainably be here for over a minute. So we figure out where our spacing needs to be. The further forward and down the hips are, the deeper the stretch in the front left thigh. And the further up, the more stable the pose is, the less the stretch. But as long as you can keep your shoulders over your hips, that's what matters. And here we play with pressing the left foot, the shoelace part of the foot, into the ground so hard that maybe the knee lifts. If you've got that knee lifting, we're just going to keep going for a few rotations. Even if you don't, you can still put the energy into the ground like that. Pressing the foot into the ground as you start to build that language in your head, that communication of like, foot pressing into the ground means knee lifts, means the leg starts to extend. Just opening up our flexibility, a little bit of internal joint strength. Gently release that back down. Checking in that the knees still in alignment. Arms come up overhead with a deep breath in. And exhale, high twist to the right. Right arm reaches back behind you, left arm reaching forward. Inhale brings back up through center. Exhale, same side, twist right. We're matching the speed of our bodies to the length of your breath. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, high twist right. Inhale, center. And exhale, hands release to the inside of the right foot. Tuck the left toes under, knee lifts, drop the heel. So if I were to draw a line from the front heel all the way back to the back foot, it would intersect the arch of the back foot. And the left arm opens up on top of the right. So I go from these 3 points of contact. I'm going to shift the weight from my right hand into my right elbow. So using this side body strength, this oblique strength, I press into the ground to lift. Elbow makes contact with the knee. Knee presses into the elbow. Left hand stacked just above. Extended side angle. So I'm pressing here, the knee into the elbow, elbow into the knee, chest is open, hips are open to the long side of the mat for a full breath here. And then hands release down, framing the front foot. Right foot steps back to meet left, plank pose. Straight line from the heels to the crown of the head. Deep breath in, shift it forward, and exhale, chaturanga, lowering just halfway. No sway in the lower back. Tops of the feet flat. Pressing into the ground so hard that the knees stay lifted. Chest and shoulders open up. Upward facing dog. Full breathing here. And then we've got ourselves to puppy pose. So second round of puppy pose, hips come over the knees, arms reach forward, sinking my chest towards the ground, maybe chin towards the ground. Hands press into the ground so hard that the arms stay activated, elbows might even lift. And my lower back is trying to round as my armpits try to touch the ground. So arch in the upper back, trying to round in the lower back, giving the shoulders a deep, deep stretch. Last deep breath here. Bring it in. Hands come underneath the shoulders, knees below hips for a tabletop. Tops of the feet press into the ground so hard that the hips lift. Rolling into your downward facing dog. Fingers are spread wide. Feet are maybe a foot apart. Finding your spacing here. Give a little bit of movement. I like giving the head a shake. No, giving the head a nod. Yes, I know when I stress out, or I tend to really tense up my neck. I used to really clench my jaw, so that was something I'd always check in all my poses. So anytime I'm in a difficult position, in an uncomfortable situation, I know that my neck and shoulders are going to start getting tight. So that's why I just like giving like a head shake or a nod to release that tension. So my hips are pressing up towards the sky, backs of my legs towards the wall behind me, and pressing heels into the ground, letting the head be heavy. If your knees are bent, your heels are lifted, that's okay too. It's just intentional, purposeful. Left leg reaches up and back behind you. And bend in that knee, stack left hip over right hip. Still the arms are strong. Temptation is to bend in this right elbow, but instead we're going to keep it nice and long, nice and strong. Shoulders stay square. Another deep breath in, knee reaching towards the sky. Exhale, knee in towards nose tiger pose, rounding in the spine. I'm up on my right tiptoes. Roll it forward, shoulders over the wrists, and then place the left foot between the hands. It's okay if it takes a couple steps to get there, no worries. Right foot steps up to meet the left. Inhale into a halfway lift, big toes come to touch, a little space between the heels. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale brings you all the way up to stand. Arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. Nice. You can take a sip of water here. It's going to take a moment. Coming to stand. Built quite a bit of heat there. How are we doing? Awesome, awesome. I just got so thirsty. Probably because I'm yelling at the screen. All right, let's meet. Back on the mat. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. On the exhale, the right elbow bends. Elbow in to the right side. Right knee bends. I'm going to reach back to grab the inside of the foot. So, like a thumbs up. I'm grabbing the inside arch of my foot. Knees come into alignment with one another. So from the front, looks like I just have 1.5 legs. So my knees are squeezed tight together, right? Great. Deep breath in. And on the exhale, we're going to hinge forward, kicking the right foot into the right hand. So I'm kicking strong into the hand. The grip of the hand is like permanent, super stuck, super strong grip. The harder I kick into the hand, the more I'm reaching forward. The bottom leg is strong and straight. All the muscles are tense in there, the knee's locked in place. We're not hyperextending or letting the knee wobble around, although the foot is going to have these little micro movements to manage the balance. So I'm kicking back, the right shoulder is being pulled open a bit. We're just allowing that to happen, that nice chest shoulder stretch here in dancer pose. It's like an arrow being pulled back on a bowstring. So the tension is what holds you in place in this position. Another deep breath here. And then like pressing rewind, we unhinge and gently float the foot down. Float both arms down. Deep breath in. Let it go. So it's okay if you fell out and had to restart. Just go through all of the steps again to come back into the pose. There's lots of value in resetting and restarting. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale, the left arm releases down, elbow in towards the hip. So why do we do this? So that the hand can be in the right position, right? So we're not flipping the hand the entire time when we reach back to grab that foot. So the left knee bends, foot comes in towards the hips. We grab onto the inside arch of the foot. And that's important for later when we're opening up the chest through that stretch. Knee comes into alignment with the right knee. So if you were looking from the front, it's like you have 1.5 legs. Deep breath in here, get tall. And exhale, as you hinge forward, begin to kick the left foot into the left hand. So strong, strong, strong kick. The stronger you kick, the more stable your position will be. The eyes are on a drishti, a focal point ahead of you that's not going to move. So the wall, the floor, not the screen in front of you. I am definitely moving. I'm not a good drishti focal point. And your eyes are super concentrated on this. You might not even blink, but still, we're breathing. Bottom foot, little micro movements to adjust for the balance. And still, I'm kicking strong, like the tension between your fingers when pulling back an arrow on a bowstring. Tight, tight, tight. Kick, kick, kick. Reach, reach, reach. Another breath here. And then returning with control to the best of your ability. Back to center. Release the leg. Release the arm. Take a deep breath in. And let it go. Okay. We're going to just let all of that go. Whatever just happened or didn't happen. And just begin our lymphatic shake. So we just start with a bounce. Even a jump works really great too. Just shake out my hands. Just any tension that was built up during that practice, during that balance exercise. Starting to jump. If jumping is not your thing or your neighbors downstairs already hate you, you can just lift up onto your heels and drop down, creating like a jiggle reverberation, always landing with the knees bent. I'm just dropping my shoulders purposefully, rigorously even. So whatever happened during that balance, during our balance, you know that a balance pose is always coming up in class, at least one. And if you're someone who's been really committed to doing class, you know, every morning, and you skip the balance part because you're like, this is the part that I hate, this is hard, I don't like this. That's just, you know, notice that. Like, where else does that show up in your life? Where you're like, I'm 100% in until the thing that I hate. And do you just hate it because you're not good at it? You feel like you're bad at it, you know, or you're not performing in the way you'd like to be. When you know, logically and maturely, that the only way to get there is by practicing. And there's nobody in your room except yourself to judge you. I'm definitely not telling you that you're doing something wrong or that you suck at it. And there's no one else watching. So if it's just you as your audience, try just giving yourself credit for even trying. That's more than most people. All right, so we're just continuing the shake. So if you're like, what is happening? Why are we jumping? Right, so it's a lymphatic shake. So we're just letting the whole body flop, releasing a bunch of tension, draining the lymphatic system, just getting things to move. building up some heat. We're heading into our breath of joy. It's a 4-part breath to release pent-up emotion. And it looks like this. The feet are a bit apart, and it's a third of your air lung capacity in, arms sweep forward, another sip of air in, another third of your lung capacity in, arms sweep out, there's no exhale in between, and the rest of your air capacity last third in and forward, and a big ha as the arms sweep back, belly comes down to the thighs. So it's sip of air in, ha! I'm going to face this way because I feel bad yelling in Lucy's face, but it's fine. So we go in, ha! You can yell as loud as you want. We've got 10 of those. In, ha! In, ha! 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 3 left. If you haven't joined in yet, now's your chance. Ha! 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 Last one, make it count. Ha! All right. Coming to stillness, feet come out nice and wide, shoulder distance, hand on your heart, hand on your belly, eyes can close. Just notice what showed up for you there. Heart rate rises, temperature rises. What else? What else shows up when you go all out? Or what shows up to stop you when the invitation to go all out is offered? What is in the way between you and 100% participation in this class, in this life? There's no shame, no right, no wrong. Just something to notice. Gently let your eyes blink open. Might grab a sip of water or towel off. You've built up some sweat. Had kind of a fiery class today. Just gonna bring my mat closer to you. All right. If you're on the ground already, stay there. If you're not, come to the top of your mat. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift, hands on shins. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Bend in the knees, deep, deep, deep. So deep that you come to seated. You know, there's one more pose that I want to do. Do I want to do it? Yes, I do. Okay, we're gonna go into cow face pose. So I'm coming into a tabletop. So sorry, I came into this in a weird way. But hands and knees once more. I'm going to show you from the side, but you can stay facing me if that makes more, so that might make more sense to you. And then bring your knees together. So my knees are touching, but otherwise I'm in tabletop pose. Then the right leg reaches back behind you, like extended tabletop. When the knee comes back in, it lands to the outside of the left knee. So from here to here. I'm going to splay my feet open out to the sides, open, 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 and then sit my hips back in between that space created. So, I'm just going to face you. Oh, the farther the feet are from the hips, the deeper that stretch is. I can like barely get into it with my feet really close to my hips. I'm trying to get both sit bones onto the ground. If your like hips are nowhere close to the ground, you can sit on top of a block, a pillow, a stack of books. A stack of books is like my go-to, so I don't have any yoga blocks. So I was very dependent on my brick and mortar yoga studios in my life. Okay, I'm trying to stack the knees over one another. So you can see there's a lot of space here. I'm still in the pose. It's not like the textbook version of it, but I'm working towards it. This is a deep stretch on the outside hips. Gomukhasana, cow face pose. Apparently this is what a cow face looks like. Arms come up overhead. And exhale, the left elbow bends, and the hand comes to the back of the head. Maybe it comes to the space between the shoulders. Right arm releases down behind you, and the back of the hand comes to the lower back. Maybe it works its way up. You might be able to hook your fingers together, but if rounding your back is necessary for that to happen, then just unloop the fingers and instead just keep the hands pressing into the spine. If this arm has the flexibility to come up, we're just pressing the head into the arm into the head. So we use the leverage of our own bodies to deepen the stretches. So fully breathing here. There's lots of tension in this pose. Every exhale is just an invitation to release some of that tension. Let the hips relax a bit. Let that tricep relax a bit. One more deep breath here. Gently release the arms so we avoid that slingshot release if you do have the hands hooked, right? Little shake out. Then hands come forward. We're rolling forward to tabletop. Unhook. Turn to the side so you can see what I'm doing. Sending that right leg back and down. Back into my regular down tabletop pose. Then the left leg is going to reach back behind you. How do we do this? Left leg reaches back behind you. And then the knee comes to the outside of the right knee. This is an important step. You need to make the space between your feet by opening them up. Walk the hands back to come to seated in between. That might be on a block, a stack of books, a pillow, a rolled towel, like we said. Knees touch, leg back to the outside, space, sit it back. I'll get closer to you. Okay. Gomukhasana, cow face pose on the other side. So, interestingly, you might find that one side feels easier than the other. Alternately, that means one side feels significantly harder than the other. So, that's not good or bad, right or wrong. That's quite normal. We don't treat our bodies very evenly the rest of our lives. You don't drive with both feet. Probably don't cross your legs evenly with both legs. So it's okay. It's just something to notice. And remember, if you're like, okay, like, yeah, say your knees are touching, you don't feel it much, bring your feet further away. You can't do it. But you can bring your feet further away from the body for a deeper stretch on these outer hips. So this is like an 8 or a 9 for me on like the discomfort, like pain scale. Not sharp pain. My knees aren't hurting me. My hips are like, I'm like 8 or 8.5. So it's okay. It's not a comfortable pose. Arms come up overhead. Then the left arm releases down. The right hand comes to the back of the head. If it's just reaching the back of the head, it doesn't go any further down, that's okay. We're just pressing the hand into the head to leverage the elbow open. Bottom hand, back of the hand comes to the lower back. Maybe it works its way a little bit in. And this one's actually leveraging to press forward. So I'm trying to be like between two panes of glass, super flat. Here the hands walk a little bit closer to one another. They might even reach one another, and if they hook, then we still even extra stay nice and tall in the spine. This is a nice way to kind of open up the right tricep too, because I'm pulling this arm back and pressing it into the head, and the head's pressing back. So it's not like a tug of war, the strongest press ever, but it's enough tension to hold you in an upright position in this pose, Gomukhasana. So I'm just deep breathing here. Every exhale is an invitation to relax the hips a bit. So there's a lot of parts of the body that are probably like yelling at you right now. And it's just like, okay, well right now I'm just going to listen to the hips and send breath there. Practice sitting in the discomfort. Practice relaxing in the discomfort. Maybe not relaxing, maybe finding ease. We'll gently release the arms. It'll shake out. Rock forward, over the knees into tabletop. Extend the left leg back. Oof. Bring it back. Okay. That was a lot on the hips. So let's just do the opposite stretch here to even it out a bit. So I'm going to let my knees come wide, wide, wide. Bringing my knees to 90 degrees, feet 90 degrees. Yeah. And we might release the forearms down. It's called frog pose. So we did half frog the other day. This is full frog. You can send the hips back a bit until you feel that stretch. So you're sending the hips forward and send the hips back. Super slow trajectory here. Just finding where on that trajectory is going to feel best on the hips to undo or kind of counter stretch, counterbalance that effort from the last pose. And we just got 2 deep breaths here. So I like letting my chest come down to the ground. Audible sighs are always welcome and encouraged. And the hands press into the ground, bring it back, upright. Drop the hips off to one side. Coming back into reclining. Oh, got a tiger. Knees hugging towards the chest. Oof. And a little rock side to side. Giving the lower back a little massage. You're going to let the left leg extend long down the length of the mat and the right knee pull in. There we go. Right knee pull in. Avoiding the belly altogether for wind relieving pose. The right knee's pulling in towards that right armpit, right shoulder. Left heel is flexed away. So I'm keeping some effort in that knee or in that leg. The shoulders are totally melted away. If anything, there's some bicep strength happening here as we pull the knee in, but otherwise the whole body's relaxed. Full breath here. And releasing that leg down the length of the mat. Left knee pulls in towards the body. Avoiding the belly. Knee pulls in towards that left shoulder, left armpit. Once again, the shoulders are melted away. I'm just using bicep strength to pull the knee in. Right foot is flexed, otherwise body's relaxed.
release the left leg, both knees pull in towards the body, reaching for opposite elbows, keeping the upper back on the ground, trying to press my lower back into the ground, so I'm not pressing into a little ball right here. Instead, I'm actually trying to elongate the spine. Chin actually can tuck a bit towards chest, trying to get the neck to touch the ground, so that every vertebra is flat on the earth, or working towards it. Full breath here. And releasing the knees, drop them over to the right, or gently place them over to the right. Left arm opens up like the letter T, palm face open to the sky, for a supine twist, Supta Matsyendrasana. Just letting my right hand land on top of the left knee is a little extra weight. I'm not pulling down or anything. The whole body here is relaxed, except my left shoulder's pressing down towards the earth. Left shoulder's pressing down towards the earth, otherwise totally relaxed. Just let gravity do the work here. There's nowhere to go, no way to be. Head comes back up through center, knees come up through center. We'll gently release the knees over to the left. Right arm opens up like the letter T, and we're actively pressing the right shoulder down towards the earth. Left hand's landing softly on top of the right knee, just letting the weight be enough for gravity. So it doesn't matter if the knees are touching the ground, doesn't matter if the knees are touching one another, we're just letting the whole body relax besides that right shoulder putting effort into the earth. You might look over the right fingertips to give the neck a complete twist. Supta Matsyendrasana, supine spinal twist. That head comes back up through center. Let the knees come up through center. And notice, is there any last movement or wiggle or stretch that your body's asking for that would round out your practice here today? Doesn't have to have a fancy yoga name, doesn't have to have a name at all. There's really no wrong answers, just any body part that may be called out for your attention during our initial body scan that you haven't gotten to yet. Taking the time to roll through that or move through that so that you can feel like you had a well-rounded practice that addressed all your body's initial concerns. And as we're setting up here for Savasana, final relaxation pose, taking whatever preparation is necessary for you. That might look like putting on socks. I always put on socks. Or placing a blanket over your body, as body temperature does lower here in Shavasana. Taking your time to move through those last few movements. Evening out if there is a second side. And then for Shavasana, let's get up for this. For Savasana, we're just laying flat on the back. If doing so brings pain or tension to your lower back, you can place a pillow or a rolled blanket below the knees to keep the knees bent. That's going to alleviate some of that pressure. If you don't have or don't feel like getting up to grab that, but this is a problem for you, bend the knees nice and deep, feet are flat on the ground. Their feet are wide, mat's distance apart, and the knees can knock together, broken bridge. So there's taking zero muscular effort to keep the knees, to keep the legs up in this position. Isa, namaste, my friend. Welcome, welcome to class. You made it just in time for my Shavasana. Usually it's the other way around. So beautiful. So this is an option. Legs straight down is an option. Legs are at least a foot apart, and they're so relaxed that the feet naturally splay open. Shoulders are tucked under, supporting the back. Hands land, palms face open to the sky, at least 6 inches from the body. A symbol and mudra of receptivity. Allow yourself to receive the full benefits of your effort here today. I'm going to come to seated so I can play some singing bowls for you.
you stay laying down. If it feels comfortable, you can close your eyes. If not, a gaze up towards the sky is beautiful, welcome, and encouraged. And we'll start this meditation just as we started our last, with 3 cleansing breaths, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Allow the breath to continue just through the nose if that's available. Allowing your exhalations to become longer and deeper than your inhalations. Invite space between top and bottom teeth as the jaw hangs heavy. And the tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. A symbol of chitta vritti, monkey mind. So just letting that go. Letting that melt away along with all the muscles around the lips and cheeks. Nostrils relax as air flows in and out. Eyes rest heavy in their sockets. Eyelids barely touching. And the space between the eyebrows broadens as the muscles of the forehead relax. And all the muscles surrounding the ears, back and top of the head relax. Throat and neck release. Shoulders melt away. Upper arms and elbows rest. Forearms and wrists release. Palms, backs of the hands, knuckles, fingers, fingertips, fingernail beds. Whole hands alive with vibration. Whole hands alive with creative potential. Rest and integrate all that you practice. Upper back, middle, lower back. Rest heavy, supported by the earth below. Chest naturally rising and falling, perhaps imperceptibly. Heart and lungs within your ribs working to oxygenate and send lifeblood through your system without your direct control. belly naturally rising and falling with the breath. Converting nutrients into energy. Into power. To prana. Pelvis, glutes, hips, rest heavy, supported by the ground below. Thighs and knees melt away. Lower legs and ankles relax. And heels, arches, toe ball mounds, tops of the feet, and all of the toes relax. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. This happiness consisted of nothing but the harmony of the few things around me with my own existence. A feeling of contentment and well-being that needed no changes and no intensification. No changes and no intensification. Allow for everything that did and did not happen in class today. And know that in yoga, practice makes practice. Nothing more, nothing less. Allow your inhalations to become longer and deeper than your exhalations. And every inhale replaces that feeling of heaviness with a feeling of openness and expansion, bringing the awareness to the surface of the body, front side body. Inviting movement back into the body, fingers begin to wiggle and toes. And head can gently rock side to side. Arms reach up overhead for a full body stretch. And let the knees bend and roll over to whichever side feels natural, landing in a fetal position. You can use that bottom arm as a pillow. Fully released and fully supported by the ground below you. Bring to mind any intention or dedication you set for class, or take this moment to set one now. And if that intention inspires you, take it with you off the mat and into the world. Allow it to affect you and the people around you for the rest of your day. With eyes still closed or gently lowered, press your hands into the ground to come up to a seated position, just like how we started class. Hands come to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra, thumbs at sternum, no space between the fingers. Today we worked on quite a fiery class, full of lunges and twists, some deep hip stretches at the end. The first namaste is said silently to yourself, thanking your body for the effort it put into class. And the second namaste is said out loud to one another and all that held this space. Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everyone who joined me for my morning practice. It might be afternoon or evening practice for you, but I love waking up with all of you, and I hope that you found something that serves you, something of value that you can take with you off the mat and into the world. I mean that wholeheartedly and literally. So happy Friday, everyone. Oh yeah, just a heads up, the quote that I read during Savasana today is a Hermann Hesse quote from his book Siddhartha. It's one of my favorite books ever. Sorry I have to leave quickly as I'm cooking. Ooh, sounds delicious. I'm so glad that you stopped in. I really appreciate you, and I can't wait for your next stream that I get to hop into. I hope whatever you're making is delicious. Only stopping by briefly to send you some good yoga vibes. I am always open to receiving good yoga vibes. Thank you, Isa. And yeah, so looks like, yeah, we got a couple of people on right now. I'll stream on Sunday reading Thich Nhat Hanh, which is totally up my alley. Definitely go check out Isa Parvati's channel. She does yoga too. I often actually jump into her channel after so that I can sit through a led Savasana, and it works out quite symbiotically, quite wonderfully. So much appreciation to her. And on Sundays, more of a conversational, philosophical conversation. So I'm gonna definitely check out Isa. And yeah, of course, if anybody has questions about class, about the philosophy, about the breath, about the meditation, I'm always available. Send me a whisper, send me a DM, send me a text, pending what you're watching me on. Thank you, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. I appreciate you all. And I'll see you same time, same place tomorrow for our Saturday yoga stream. Namaste, everyone. Happy Friday.